Alright, boys. I'm saying boys because everybody's. I've checked all the statistics. It's all men. Anyway, I like that. I actually don't like it that much, but anyway. Today we're gonna make an, without further ado, historical empire tier list. Of course, we're gonna go here. There was another version that I could use, which with the maps, but to be honest, two or three of them I couldn't make. And one of them was like Umayyad Caliphate, Abbasid Caliphate, and I was like messing them in my head, and like I was messing some like Seljuk with Persian or something. To be honest, there are people who know this stuff better than me. I'm mostly interested in Europe and Turkic world basically. But anyway, this is my personal view of these things. I'm not an authority on these. I'm just a Turkish guy. So, without further ado, we're gonna make the best tier list ever. Alright, we're gonna start with Abbasids. Abbasids. Well, we're looking at the Arabic empires and... Alright. Okay, the first caliphate after the Prophet died, Rashidun, basically. They were semi-decent. Not semi-decent actually. They expanded really incredibly fast. It was really interesting. But when I look at especially Umayyads and the other Arabic empires or caliphates, they don't interest me that much. But Abbasids, if I remember correctly, from like the things I read, especially like in high school and stuff, I read a bit. Even though I'm not that interested or knowledgeable in Arabic empires, I believe Abbasids were one of the like better ones. Like Umayyad would go like F tier, or who the fuck fucking cares. Anyway, so Abbasids. Well, I might be a bit biased because I'm a Turk, but like I said, I don't know much about the Abbasid Caliphate. I'm just gonna put it on D tier, because when you look at the size, it's impressive. Achaemenids, the Persian Empire, basically, they were fucking insane. They dominated, like they came from Persia to Greece, like at gates of fucking Europe. They were incredibly influential at their times. Their language, their poetry, their development, their enlightenment in some sense, and they had great leaders. Cyrus the Great, I think. I believe he was from the Achaemenid Empire. The name is really interesting actually. In Turkish we call it Hehameneşi, and in English it's like Achaemenid, and in both languages actually it's really hard to fucking read. But they developed a lot of stuff, and still actually I say this to this day. When you look at like the Turkish empires and Turkish government types in history, we all took them from basically, they were all influenced from the Persians. So I'm gonna actually put it in A tier. Ajuran Sultanate. I mean, these are not fucking empires. This was just a nation in like southern Africa. I think Ajuran is like there, right? Like near Ethiopia. Who cares, bro? Aksum. You go here, bro. These are not fucking empires. No, you're not an empire. Assyria. I mean, are we really gonna count these as really empire? No, maybe I could put Assyria here. All right, these are the proper fucking empires. So, Austria-Hungary. So, is Austria-Hungary or Austria, the Austrian Empire, the better one? In my honest opinion, Austrian Empire, when we say the Austrian Empire, we mean, how can I say this? Like after Napoleonic era or something. Therefore, it means like this empire, like Ottomans, actually started to crumble a lot. But the Holy Roman times, like before Napoleon actually dissolved it, Austria-Hungary was really fucking strong. With EU4 terms, it was really fucking OP. And like, basically, alright. So when we say the Austria-Hungary, we're actually counting the Charles V, Charlemagne, Charleken, we call it in Turkish. Charles V, sorry, not Charlemagne, of course. These guys basically, with their fucking marriages, dominated Europe, and without a single drop of blood, they actually subjugated Spain and therefore all the colonies. And even then, actually, they were able to just barely stop the Ottomans. Yeah, it's fucking B tier. It's just here, better than the Achaemenids, but A tier, sorry, but it's not S tier. Austrian Empire. I mean, they didn't expand that much, and they were like, they were in really a bad fucking position. And after like the nationalist sentiment emerged in Europe, especially after the Napoleonic era, there wasn't much anything that they could have done. They were just crumbling with their different nationalities, unlike the French, and they were not like that centralized or absolutist like Prussia or Russia or anywhere. They weren't that good, and like in the First World War, they basically exploded, and like 15 different countries emerged from their former territories. Ayyubids, all right, they were impressive. They actually Saladin actually stopped actually he saved Jerusalem, and from the effect of the Ridley Scott's movie, actually we all love him, and Baldwin as well. But I mean, compared to the Austro-Hungarian Empire or the Ottomans or the British, they didn't survive that much. I mean, how long is this? I don't even believe Ayyubids are like 200 years. That's that powerful. So I'm just gonna put it here actually. Wait, let me check something. Okay, so Aztec Empire, they were really fucking impressive, but here's the thing actually. It was basically a skill issue that they Spaniards, with the help of Hernan Cortes, actually destroyed the Aztec Empire with 2,000 fucking soldiers. Of course, the flu and bacteria from the old were coming to the new world, and therefore their evolution, like their bodies were not like the Native Americans weren't adapted to our like viruses or something. So that sickness helped a bit. That really helped. The destruction of Tenochtitlan, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was really a fucking messy and bloody event. And basically what happened after they fell is like Hernan Cortes became the fucking king of Mexico for a while. But yeah, they're impressive. They built interesting structures. They were semi-developed compared to, relatively speaking, compared to other Native Americans or natives, but they like their whole empire crumbled and crushed and got destroyed with like 2,000 people. So who fucking cares? I'm just gonna put it here. Babylon. I mean, okay, Babylon, we can call Babylon an empire, but it's too fucking old, and we don't even know much about them actually. Like, how was the social life? How was it, like, was there even a constitution? How did they do trade? Of course, there are some like historians who claim they know these stuff, also Egyptians, but we don't know anything that much. So, I mean, I'm just gonna put it here because there is nothing we know. Belgian Empire is a solid F tier. I mean, basically they were so shit, and like they were so unsuccessful. They colonized one of the worst colonizable provinces in Africa. Sure, they got rubber and stuff. We're talking about like EU4 terms, but I mean, instead of colonizing Congo and actually slaughtering millions, they could have actually focused on improving their basic infrastructure, everything, which they did. But I mean, Leopold actually keeping Congo, I think led to much destruction than for what it's worth actually. It was, in terms of size, it was really small. It wasn't even the whole Low Countries, it was just Belgium. I mean, Empire of Brazil. Okay. Dude, these guys were colonies, and like after the Portuguese couldn't like hold them strong enough, they basically got free. But I mean, I wouldn't call it an empire, bro. I'm just gonna put it here. Sure, they got a great leader, one of the best leaders in history. I don't remember the name, but anyway. Alright, so here we are. Here we are at the proper fucking empires. British Empire is S tier. It's the best one on this list, even better than the Roman Empire in my opinion. These guys actually controlled 1/4 of the world, 1/4 of the world, with their small tiny islands. From their small tiny island, they invented like they invented modern science. They were like a constitutional monarchy kingdom, but I mean, they subjugated all of the world basically. They were unstoppable at sea, not in land, but like the strongest country in the world is speaking English, and I'm speaking English right now. I'm not speaking German, Italian, or Latin, nor Turkish right now. I'm speaking English. That's because of the British Empire. What would happen if what would have happened if actually Spaniards won? It would be really fucking interesting, but yeah, that's it. They were basically the masters of the world for a long fucking time. They were unstoppable, and not even one land besides Hanover on continental Europe. They dominated everything. They focused on improving their science, technology, military tactics, naval tactics, trade routes, everything. It was fucking insane, and still everybody like Americans don't have a language called American. They speak English. Canadians speak English. Australians speak English. Singaporeans speak English. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's the best fucking empire in history. British Raj is not an empire. Bulgarian Empire. We call this an empire? Really? I mean, alright, I'm gonna give an example. In the Ottoman times, Bulgaria was basically a state. I don't know, I think some parts were in like Rumelia or something, but I mean, I wouldn't call it an empire, bro. It's like, it has a really interesting history, and it has it destroyed the Turks in the Balkan Wars, but and then I wouldn't call it an empire, and we're not even talking about the World War II stuff. That was really bad shit. I mean, I think it's just an F tier with terms of size, everything. Burmese Empire, Byzantine Empire, or it would be S, but at the end actually they've got like 100 civil wars, but they hold on for a long fucking time against Turks. And even after the Mongols invaded, they reunified in some sense. They took back some lands from like Bulgarian Empire and stuff, or Epirus. It was really interesting. And basically why this empire failed is actually West left them alone, and crusades, everything, and there was an unstoppable force named Turks basically, and also they've got like 100 or 200 civil wars. But other than that, not like the British or Roman Empire, but it was basically a fucking wild ride. They were more Greek in some sense compared to Italian or Latin, but anyway, it's really good. It's really good. I think it's here. Can't I put it here? Okay. Wait a bit. Wait. Okay. Carthage. Yeah, they beat the Romans for a while. They lost at the end. They were successful for a short time, like Hannibal and stuff. But it has the same problem actually about the Mongol Empire. They didn't survive. They didn't last for that long. So I'm just gonna put it here. I don't know which one is this, I'm gonna be honest. Danish Empire is F tier. I think we're talking about the Kalmar Union and the union with Sweden and Norway and Denmark. It wasn't basically an empire. It like Swedes actually destroyed them at the end. I mean, I wouldn't call this an empire at all. Durrani Empire, I don't know which one is this. Dutch Empire is really interesting. It's B tier. It's good. Why it's good? I mean, for a country that's small that size actually, they conquered and they subjugated and they controlled all of Indonesia. And if you look at the Dutch East India Company, their GDP is, I think, more than all the major like companies in America combined. It's like, I think I saw a post about like it's like $8 trillion or something. It was really it's really interesting, but it's not like a militaristic empire like the French or the British or something. It was basically a trade company, trade empire, but it was really fucking impressive. Ancient Egypt. I mean, we don't know much about ancient Egypt. Basically, it's just a myth, and it's not a myth. Of course, they happen, but we don't have resources or anything. We just have claims or stuff. But I'm just gonna put it here. It wouldn't do good, like, for me to say anything about it. Fatimids. Francia. Why are we calling these empires actually? Like, before Europe actually started to like, it's not even, this is not Gaul, right? It's Francia. I mean, all right. French colonial empire. French colonial empire is D tier. It's not good. It's not that good. I mean, there is a reason actually why everybody in Northern Africa, and especially Marcus, speaks French. But other than that, actually, they sold Louisiana. Napoleon sold Louisiana for $2, couple bucks. Yeah, they controlled Haiti, Dominic Islands, French Guinea. It was basic. They were basically, in my view, control land just to control land. They weren't like, it wasn't improving it, the French economy like the British colonies did actually. Like, British and Dutch actually gained immense wealth, but French way was actually more of like discrimination. And I mean, for example, Dutch didn't care about like natives' religion. I mean, like, that's why actually Indonesia is still Muslim. They're not Christian or anything. I mean, there's nothing much to say about the French colonial empire. It's not that impressive, bro. Georgian. What's this, dude? German Empire. It's S tier. Why is that? For a country that's unified that late and didn't have colonies at all. I mean, they had, but you get what I mean. It was really useless. They hold their ground against the Russians, Americans, French, and the British by their own. Ottomans helped a bit, but couldn't do much. Austrians couldn't do anything at all. And they held their ground, and they didn't even capitulate actually. They just saw the situation. It was helpless and they were about to lose. No, like, they were basically melting. Their manpower, resources, blockade, destroyed everything, stability, and every day like thousands of American soldiers were landing in northern France. It was basically an unsolvable situation, the First World War. But it's S tier, the militaristic, like, how can you fucking hold that long against all of the world basically? See this, Germans, win wars, win every wars, but the wars are too long for them. If the wars are short, they would won everything. Ghaznevits. This is not an empire at all, bro. Göktürks. C tier. If I were not a Turk, I would put it just E or something. But I know a bit about Göktürks. Göktürks. They were amazingly big, and so on. Like in Central Asia, they dominated for a while. But here's the thing: we don't know nothing about them basically. Yeah, there are some sculptures or writings on some stones or anything, but we don't know anything about them. It's just I love them, but it's just a nationalistic, dreamy thing for me, like nostalgic thing for me. I don't know anything about them. Nobody does. Golden Horde. They're D tier, but why is that? So these guys were one of the couple nations that got emerged after the Mongol Empire fell apart. But yeah, they were like, are they actually Caucasians or like Circassians, Caucasians or Tatars? I believe they were Tatars, but I'm not sure about that. Again, I'm not on the authority on these things. But the thing I don't like about them is basically their vassals destroyed them. The Muscovites, the Russians actually. Yeah, the Russians were like collecting the tax from every other Russian principality, and they basically rebelled and destroyed the Golden Horde. So, like, your vassal annexing you is never a good thing in EU4. Alright. Gupta Empire, I don't know. Han Dynasty, this is one of the, I think, 1000 Han dynasties in the world. Anyway, Hittites, again, we don't know anything about them. We don't know anything about them. Holy Roman Empire. I mean, it's just bad. It's so fucking bad. Like Voltaire said, it's neither an empire, it's neither holy, or it's neither Roman. It wasn't an empire. It was basically like a even shittier version of the European Union. I mean, it was like a dismantled, decentralized, fucking piece of shit. It was so bad. And the best thing Napoleon did was to dissolve it. Actually, I mean, best thing Napoleon actually resulted in doing is making Emperor Francis dissolve it. It was so bad. You had like corrupted different like election stuff. Like every elector would actually support for a new emperor, but the richest guy would always win, which was the Austrians, because they would bribe everyone and they would get influence from the Pope or anything. I mean, it wasn't even a fair fight. I mean, it's bad. Huns. It's the same as Göktürk. Inca. Everything I said about the Aztecs is relevant and the same here. It was basically a skill issue. Italian Empire. Oh my god. Oh. It was really fucking bad. It was really fucking bad. And I wouldn't even call it a fucking empire. I mean, they lost the Greeks. I mean, even the Albanian invasion was a problem for them. Not the invasion, but Albanian situation. And also, like, Germans were advancing really good in Europe, and they were going to attack the Soviets, but then actually they invaded Greece. Italians invaded Greece, and they said, actually, Mr. H actually wanted to send some troops, but they were like, Mussolini was like, no, this is our prestigious, like, yeah, you conquered you conquered the French, but we're gonna conquer Greece. And they failed, and they called the Germans. Oh my god, it was such a bad fucking, and like, their whole field was actually destroyed at Taranto by a couple British aircraft carriers. Uh, their army weren't ruined. Their people didn't want to even fight. They were uh, the side that changed, the country that changed sides actually in the they were the country that changed sides in both world wars. This was really bad. Japan. This is World War II Japan. Uh, I think it's here. In terms of militaristic and other economic and stuff like developments, innovations, everything. Well, it was the first air fleet. They were really strong. They actually developed the aircraft carrier system. Isoroku Yamamoto was one of the best admirals in the world. But the problem with the Japanese empire is, I can understand that them getting stuck in China, but the problem you see if you read books and like also watch documentaries, read history basically is these guys like Japanese government had a problem. Uh, Actually, Hoyford shows this in a really good way, like inter-service rivalry. So, for example, uh, the army guys, like army officers, control different factories, and these designs weren't even shared with the navy officers, like the factories that navy officers control. So therefore, let's say like army had really good planes, but for example, even if the navy had good planes, they didn't have enough capacity to properly produce them. I mean, dude, you're fighting against all of the allies, all of the world. You're fighting against United States, France, everyone, UK. You should be like more connected with each other and united. And other than that, like Nanking massacre, everything, it was really shit. They were unstoppable at the Pacific, basically, not the Pacific, but Indonesia and stuff. But the Americans were more clever. But look, it's about the Ottomans as well. Like believing that you can do something, you can achieve something, like Bushido Code and stuff, is advantageous for you in some sense. But if your enemy is focusing on also improving their radio technology, their technology basically, and tactics and everything, they would prevail at the end. That was the problem. Khazar Khaganate. Oh my god. Okay, Alexander's Empire. It would be S tier, but like the Mongol Empire, it dissolved after Alexander died. But compared to, it was a really fucking great achievement that Alexander the Great was able to conquer that much land that fast in that time, where there was no trucks, logistical systems or anything. It was really impressive. He united, like from Macedonia, he united Greece and everything. Like he destroyed the Persians. He went to Egypt, and even actually we call Iskanderia to Alexandria. The name comes from him. He founded the city. It's A tier, but not as influential as the Byzantine. Maybe it's like the Hellenic stuff, but in my opinion, Majapahit, no. Malacca, no. Mali, Mamluks, another Turkish empire. They were strong. They were really rich from grain, cotton, everything. But they don't have that many achievements basically. The only achievement they have is actually stopping, being the ones other than Japanese to be able to stop the Mongols, but other than that they don't have much. And actually Selim the Grim actually basically conquered all of Egypt, all of the Mamluks in one war basically. So it's here. Maratha, you go here. Actually, I'm just gonna put this instead of who irrelevant. Maurya, I don't know this. Mayan empires is basically a skill issue. Mexican empire, oh my god, no. Ming dynasty, oh my god, I hate the Ming dynasty. Like Oh my god, I really don't like reading about the Chinese history or anything. It's so complicated other than the like all the words and everything being messed in your head. It's basically a 2000 3000 struggle for within basically. I mean, if China got united and would have been able to keep its hold together in its own diaspora or its own country, it would be really fucking a different. It would be a different world basically. But I mean, uh, is it worse? I think it's worse than Italians. Mongol Empire. All right, the argument that the Alexander's empire got dissolved after his death is the same here, but the size of the Mongols, their military tactics, them being unstoppable, and Genghis Khan doing all of it in that short period of time, like 30 years, 40 years, I don't know. It's fucking insane. It just goes here. Oh my god, look at that fucking size. Like, how much was it? 36 million kilometers? Kilometers square? I don't remember, but oh, I want to play you on right now. Morocco, you go here. Mughals. I think Mughals goes here. The dynasty was Turkish. The rule was Turkish. People were Persian, Indian, Hindu, Muslim, Shia, or something. But they've got really different, how can I say, governmental systems, reforms, culture. They were basically like the Romans, like melting pot of different cultures, or the Ottomans. Actually, they took basically it's about being a Turk. You took something from everything. We Turks do that basically. Mughals did that. Ottomans did that. Everybody did. Seljuk Empire did that. And for that reason, basically, some guy actually said in comments that I've seen like a couple hours ago. He said Ottomans were pragmatic, and that was one of the best things that someone can ever say about the Ottomans, because it's so true. I mean, basically, it all comes back to like pragmatism. And Mughals were like that. Napoleonic Empire. Is it better than Mongols? In my head, yeah, but no, not really. Napoleonic Empire was insane. It's my favorite empire. After British, probably. I don't know if it's the favorite, but Napoleon is my favorite person in history. Look, if you look at Napoleonic history, there's this. Before I started reading about the Napoleonic Wars, I thought Napoleon was a great general and everything. But when you read, for example, Andrew Roberts' like 1,000-page book, like you see actually this guy had insane ideas, and he improved the economy, legal system, everything. And even he basically had different ideas, and the Napoleon Code is still being used after even after Napoleon got kicked out to Saint Helena, and still being used as a basis of base European constitutions, basically laws. And he was so influential. He kicked out the like bureaucracy, aristocracy, bourgeoisie, clergy, everything, and he built such a good foundation even after his death. Like Louis the 18th, I think, came, and they couldn't change anything because the system was so good and so fixed and so unchangeable, because it was so good and was implemented so well. They started using it. I mean, this guy fought against 7 coalitions, and it took all of Europe to destroy him, drag him down. And he was just basically a artillery general from Corsica, and he became the first consul and emperor. And in like early 19th century, he ruled and controlled an army of 500,000 men. Compared to those years, it's really fucking interesting. It's really fucking amazing. Napoleon is the greatest person on history after Jesus, I think. Anyway, North Sea Empire. Who gives a shit? Umman. Who gives a shit? Ottomans. Yeah. Of course, I'm a bit fucking biased, but Ottomans goes to top 8 here. Of course, they're not S tier because there's no way we can compare the Ottomans with the Brits or Napoleonic Empire. But they were, like that guy said, extremely pragmatic. They were really clever. They took something from everyone. And they were basically unstoppable. They were the nightmare of Europe. They've got... It was really interesting. I mean, it wasn't a Muslim empire at all. It wasn't secular, of course, but... Like... They even got interest rates, which is haram in Islam. And also... Fatih Sultan Mehmed actually started the Turkish Renaissance, which didn't continue, but it was really interesting. And even though it got dissolved, for 600 years it was, I think it's the longest reigning, not empire, but longest reigning dynasty in history, Osmanoğulları. It's really fucking interesting. I mean, it stretched from Budapest to Basra to even we can consider Malacca, Aceh or something. It really has a special place inside my heart, but at the end it got dissolved because Europeans started advancing. I basically explained the Ottomans in the latest video, you can check it out, but for right now what I can say about the Ottomans is they have a special place in my heart, and they were extremely tolerant to minorities, everyone, even the Jewish people. They were basically pragmatic Turks, like every Turkish empire is. It was really interesting. Parthia, I don't give a shit. Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Oh, fuck. It's bad. It's not good at all. I mean, the problem with Poland was actually they were just at the center of 3 major different empires. Even if you consider Swedish empires like 4 empires. And basically, if you're in such a position, you should be extremely strong at every time. If they see you're actually meddling or you getting weak, someone would attack you, and then it results in like 3 partitions of Poland, basically. Other than that, actually, the only glorious moment they had is like when they destroyed the Turks at Vienna, like the Winged Hussars. But other than that, it never really interested me that much because it's not that impressive at all. Portuguese Empire. Portuguese Empire is here because for a country that size, like Netherlands, more than Netherlands actually, they dominate. Like Brazilians actually still speak Portuguese, and so on and so on. It's really amazing. It's really interesting. But in terms of military, this is the problem with the Spanish Empire and Portuguese Empire. They got extremely rich from everything, but they didn't develop science that much as much as the Brits. Okay, they developed some stuff, of course, but they not as much as the Brits or Germans anyway. It was basically a great big empire, but they didn't add that much to the general history. Not, of course, like general innovation of the world, let's say. Qing Dynasty, Roman Empire is up just here. Alright, I'm not gonna say anything about the Romans, of course. There's nothing much to say. There's a lot to say. There's nothing that I can say. Everybody loves the Romans, but like I said, the British Empire is the best one. Because only one thing I'm gonna say. We're not speaking Latin or Italian, we're speaking English, actually. That's why. Objectively, maybe it's here, but this is a subjective list and it's just there. Russian Empire, here. Russian Empire goes here. They were basically, after Ottoman started to crumble, and Russians started to eat like their eastern parts. uh, they basically became a like snowball effect. Became a snowball effect. You see it basically in EU4 and HOI4. They've got infinite manpower, infinite everything, but the reason they got so big is that actually basically they took the land that nobody wanted, and only people who are not advanced in technology as much as them inhabited. But we still even right now see the Russian Empire in our world basically. So that deserves A tier as like impressiveness and relevance to history. Alright, so we all read about the Ottomans, like the Russian Empire, and this big Russian fear for hundreds of years that's coming from Europe basically. And we still even see it in like the Ukraine situation, everything. Safavid Empire is better than Mughals. It's better than Austrian Empire. It's not better as Japan. These guys were basically a Turkic dynasty, Safavids, although the people are Persian, of course, and they were Shia. They were able to hold on to the Ottomans and the other great powers, even the Russians to some extent, by their own. They've got poetry, and development, literature, a beautiful language, beautiful music, beautiful culture, amazing culture, and they had an impressive military. Don't look at Iran right now, like Safavid Empire, we're talking about it. It was really interesting. It was extreme. It's basically an empire that you need to read more about actually. Sassanids, Seleucids, Seljuk Empire. I don't like the Seljuks. Of course, I like the Seljuks, but they don't interest me that much. I mean, but dude, they're not strong as the French colonial empire, of course. But all right, they were like predecessors of the Ottomans before the Mongols came. And there is something called like Seljuk Renaissance, but it's basically like Sufism and stuff, which I don't like. I really don't like Sufism. It wasn't the Renaissance time, of course, but there were like observatories. There are still observatories in Anatolia, but I have the same issue. We don't know that much about it, right? Because there were not many chroniclers. We know a lot about the Ottomans because of Westerners actually. In like Turkish, there weren't many like scholars at like 15th, 16th century, and we're talking about the Seljuk Empire. It's like 13th century. And Serbian Empire. You can go here. Go. Spanish Empire. It's here. Alright, it has the same problem with the Portuguese. They didn't add that much to the general innovativeness and technology of the world. Improvement of our lives to today, which Brits did, Romans did, Germans, everybody did. They just took the gold from Mexico, and they've got the inflation so much because of that. But the problem with the Spanish Empire is, alright. Problem with the Spanish Empire is that, but I can't pass the fact that Philippines still speak Spanish, Mexicans and everyone, like Peru and stuff, they speak Spanish. It's because of the Spaniards actually. I mean, it was, and even if Elizabeth actually Tudor actually couldn't stop the Spanish invasion, we would be able to. Maybe we would be speaking actually Spanish right now, or maybe German. Who knows? But I don't know which this one. Swedish Empire has a really good place in my heart. I really love it because of Sabaton's album. I've been listening to Carlos Rex for years. Swedish Empire. Alright, it didn't last that much, but it's better than the Dutch Empire. Because like that, like country for that size, they stood up against the Russians. Actually, for that fact, I'm just gonna put it here. They stood up against the Russians, the Poles, everyone. Saxons, Danish. And we're basically talking about the Carolus Rex, like Carl the 12th side. This guy was a kid, basically. He was like 17 years old, and he stood up against like Peter the Great, I think, by his own. It was a wild ride, basically. Then he came to the Ottomans, which like Kings and Generals has like a real great video about like his refuge after he lost the war. It really has a special place in my heart because of that album and EU4, of course. Tang Dynasty, go. Alright, you guys go. Umayyads, oh my god, it's really bad. It's really bad. Oh. Vietnam, Zhongchu, Yuan, Ethiopia. Okay. I mean, I would put them here, but is they're not that influential or as strong as Russia. I'm just gonna put them here because there's something called Timurid Renaissance. Tamerlane the Great was a Turkish guy. I know you guys wouldn't believe it, but he was. Do your fucking research. There's something, like I said, called Timurid Renaissance. So, I mean, he was a cruel man. He went to something called like Skull Towers or something, and he fought against like his religious brethren also, which is really interesting. But actually, he would actually invade some places and then took all the clever guys, like diplomats, artists, and then bring them to Samarkand, and give them money and places in his court. He wanted to go. He actually conquered Delhi. He wanted to go to India and then China, but he died basically. I think he was like 42 years old or something. I might be wrong with that. But if the Bayezid the First, Bayezid Lightning we call Yıldırım Bayezid, didn't actually wanted to start a feud with him, he might have gotten to India proper, all like Bengal and stuff. But then he encountered, like how can I say this? He exchanged some curse words with Bayezid. Bayezid would call him dog or something, and I think the Ottomans killed some envoys or something, which you don't do that to Tamerlane. And then he came to Anatolia and destroyed the Turkish army, like the other Turkish army. His army was Turkish as well, in Ankara, and then like killed the Sultan basically. But it really has a special place in my heart, Timurid Empire. As we say in Turkish, biggest enemy of a Turk is a Turk basically. Yuan dynasty, I mean, their size was really good. They were powerful. They were basically like Chinese, Mongol, Sino-Mongol remnants of the Mongol Empire, basically. But they're better than Abbasids. Not as great as the Seljuks, I think. I'm gonna put it here. Ethiopian Empire. They've got special connections with the Portuguese, so that's really interesting. But other than that, there wasn't much that they could have done. They were not a European colonial proper power, or at north actually, or east. They had Mamlukian threat, and then the Ottoman threat. There wasn't much that they could have done. They hold their ground for a bit, but I'm just... Alright. Just to fuck Mussolini, I'm just gonna put it here. Fuck you, Mussolini. Alright, so that's basically my tier list. I think it's good. There are a couple I think missing here, which is good actually, like Second World War stuff. And also, I wish there was the American, the United States or Soviets, but they didn't add it here. This was a preset that I used. But this is showing good actually. I think this is good. Yeah. Let me see the tier list actually. British. like I said before, like making these tier lists is really interesting because I basically have a general idea in my head, but laying it all down step by step, slowly, and explaining even to myself and thinking about it constantly as I'm doing it actually clarifies a lot of things in my mind. So I think it's a good tier list. There is not much to say. I won't take up much of your time. See ya.